Status basically is a measure of legal rank and standing in society, and persons calling themselves colors need to realize that that status under the guise of a color means that you're a semblance of an actual person who has status. So if I'm a black person, then my status is black. And that is what they would most would consider a negative status. Being that it's a negative status, I'm going to get treated like it's a negative status. Calling oneself white is also akin to black, but it's more or less denoting of landlord and a freeholder type status. And persons calling themselves white within the jurisdiction of the United States, yes, they enjoy a certain number of benefits over persons calling themselves black and any other race. However, on a larger or grand scale, they are in the same boat as the persons calling themselves black, Negro, colored, Latino, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole, any of those names. They are in the same boat in the sense that those names are not national names and they do not denote a nationality. You couldn't appeal to the human rights side of the United Nations and say that we white people deserve whatever in life, nor could you do the same as a black person. As a Hispanic or a Native American, none of those names actually describe the individual and who they actually come from. You don't come from white people just like you don't come from black people. You came from a person, a real life human being, and it's important, especially here in the state of Florida, that you know who you come from, because you're in a land that is basically, it's a trust, and it's in a trust for those people who know that they are the indigenous. They are of the indigenous, descendants of the indigenous, the real peoples who were here. Those 6 or 7 tribes that made up what is being colorably or misnamed the Seminoles. It's important that we realize that in order for us to get the most out of this society, we understand and accept that who we are on a national basis. DNA nowadays is getting very popular, and so people are researching their DNA and finding out, oh, my family is from this side of the planet or this side of the planet. Well, one thing that everyone is forgetting is that DNA, it's not saying that you're specifically from Africa. It's not saying you're specifically from the Americas or from China or any of that. It denotes where your blood has been all over. So, in calling oneself a European or calling oneself Anglican or any of those titles like that, you are depreciating the value of being human. And the same thing goes for saying that I'm black and I'm proud and I'm African or any of these things like that. You're setting yourself up for basically the theft and robbery of your own original nationality and status. And some of us say, well, nationality also kind of bars us off from each other in a sense too. It does. However, nationality is respected beyond law, beyond legislation. You are only what your foremothers and forefathers are or were before you. You're the best of the best. The reason why you're here is because the best of the best came to create you, and you have maintained such a state that allows you to actually make and take form here without being compromised by whatever disease or ailments might have caused your ancestors or other persons around you to actually fall off or out of this reality. The important part, the biggest message you could ever get from any of this that I'm telling you is to understand that you are not a continental person. You are not continental people. You're not European, you're not African, you're not China, you're not Asian, you're not any of those names. I'm sorry for saying China also. You've been compromised. Your brain has been compromised through education / indoctrination. because now we fight and we argue based on our types, our nationality types or continental types or where we're from or country types. And this is akin to the Tower of Babel, as I mentioned earlier, a big ball of confusion. The whole planet exists as the Tower of Babel now due to the miseducation on a mass scale of everyone. University after university has popped up all around the planet and been, how do you say, putting up markers and color-coded maps to designate where this person is from, where this person is from. It's an ignorant idea, and it's as if we don't understand that we've been here longer than 2,000 years. We have been here longer than 2,000 years. It is not the year 2010. In fact, time doesn't even exist. But this again is fundamental information that comes from your roots, your culture, your heritage. It was known long ago that an individual's capacity to perform, whether it be an adult or a child, was dictated upon common sense and not his physical ability to actually move and operate. However, physical ability does play a large part in it, and this is why you have these rituals in which persons go out and become something important, or they go out and find themselves, because it takes an ability to actually defend oneself, to actually make it here. However, when you are tricked into being a wardship or a citizen, you've lost that right, that birthright, the right of passage to actually become a real person. And therefore, you are dictated to by the power that be, or the powers that be, and they tell you how things are going to go, or how you're going to feel today, or how you should be thinking, what your nationality is, what your heritage is, what your culture is. Black people did not take February from the European and say, this is Black History Month. Black History Month was given to black people, okay? The same thing's for Hispanic Month, okay, or Latino Month, however you want to call it. It was not called such by that group of people. It was given to them by a higher authority claiming to have jurisdiction over you. And jurisdiction is just another name for power. So, again, whether or not someone has jurisdiction over you, whether or not someone can give you a status, legislation, powers, all of this stuff hangs over you based on your ignorance of status or your acceptance of a particular status. So, when we look at what jurisdiction really is, a definition for it is a term of large and comprehensive import and embraces every kind of judicial action. It is the authority, capacity, or power or right to act. It is the power of him who has the right of judging. Now you need to ask yourself, if you are a believer in God, then how can you let another man, born just like you with a navel, judge or preside over you? Sometimes these people aren't even in the right capacity under the law that they are claiming to judge you upon. You can't be from Europe and claim judgment over someone from Africa unless the African has given you jurisdiction over him. Jurisdiction is established by an acceptance that this individual, this entity hailing over you is actually stronger than you, or a part of you in a sense, within the same nationality, within the same categorical group. It's important that people understand that we all are under our own jurisdiction. All right? We all have our own jurisdiction, and it's our duty and our job to respect other persons here claiming that they have a right to whatever it is that they're claiming they have a right to. If we wish to exercise our nationalities or our status properly, we need to accept and understand that we must be able to stand in the front of a jurisdiction or in someone's jurisdiction or in front of power or some sort of claimant to be authority that on a square, firm and position-wise. Just like a boxer holds his hands, the mentally competent, sound human person needs to understand that they are not to be victims, and nor are they intended to be victims. However, you become a victim based on your own ignorance. And this is the case for most persons lining up into courtrooms. Many of them don't realize that they have entered the courtroom on a false status. which goes back to what I was stating before, in the fact that if you don't have a nationality, you don't know who you are, where you're from, or you don't understand the law, then you enter a courtroom or any sort of a forum, a world forum, and you are at the hands of the Almighty. And this is the Almighty human who claims jurisdiction over you. So you have no rights, you have no say-so. You can be judged unlawfully, and no one on this planet would care, because you don't care enough to stop calling yourself dog, nigger, black, colored, white, brother, all of these other things, other than what you really are, which is a man. A man in a greater sense, the grand cosmos, the creator, the facilitator of all these things that happen to us. You can't blame another person for your inability to access society's goods. You need to accept fault on your own. Because if someone else is saying that you can't have access to things, the only reason why you're even having these thoughts that you're being denied is because you won't stand up. And even in standing up, a man can only fight so long of what is not theirs. Okay? This is one thing that nature does to us. A man, all persons, humans, can only fight for so long for things that are not theirs. You need to accept that if you're going to stand up for your rights and stand up to be who you want to be or who you are, then you have to make, or not even make, you shouldn't have to, but you're going to have to make these other people realize that you are not what they call you. You are not what anyone calls you. You are only what you accept. And if you accept being called nigger, dog, black, colored, and all these other damn different names, then you have accepted the treatment that a dog deserves. And understand that around the world, some people eat dogs, okay? Everyone does not treat a dog like the way these people over here in the U.S. do. Alright? So, niggas, brothers, sisters, uncles, relatives, family members, fellow humans of the family of nations, accept that you are a person, a human with rights. If the application says that you need to fill in a race or ethnicity, understand that you are of the human race. Accept that first, and then begin to take the processes that will grant you the rights afforded to all humans, which is life. Thank you.